Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you my review of the Pixel 2 XL. This is the Verizon variant. I want to say thank you very much to Verizon for allowing me to check it out. Overall, this is one of the best devices of 2017. And we're talking flagship specs, but not only that, the best camera on a mobile device, in my opinion, of 2017. Hands down, low light, all the performance that you would expect out of a mobile camera, the best ones are in here, and the machine learning behind it from Google just makes it better every time an update gets pushed. This is TK, and I want to share with you guys before we go too far is that Verizon currently is running a $300 off promo on the Pixel 2 XL. Not only that, a 50% off on a Google Home. So if you'd like to get that really good promo from them, check out the link in the description below. You'll be able to find out some more information. But let's not waste any more time. Let's check out why the Pixel 2 XL is one of my favorite devices of 2017. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys is we are running the latest version of Android 8.1 that was just pushed out by Google and Verizon. So the update that we're receiving on these devices are coming out right away. We also, as far as hardware, we are looking at a 6-inch display, Quad HD. We have front-facing speakers, an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, SIM tray on the left side, no expandable storage. So basically, this is going to be just for one SIM. On the back, we're looking at a 12-megapixel sensor accompanied by a dual-tone LED flash, fingerprint sensor, and of course the Google logo on the bottom. Looking on the right side of the phone, we have a power button and a volume rocker. Both are exactly the same feeling, but of course you have your volume rocker pretty much on the lower end, so you kind of remember to go power top, volume bottom. Again, the front-facing speakers, as I mentioned, on the top. On the bottom, we don't have any headphone jack. We just have a USB Type-C connector, data port for transferring data, charging, as well as using the USB Type-C adapter that's included in the box to be able to get us audio playback on a 3.5mm headphone jack. Last but not least, we have a microphone on the top of the display, and that's pretty much it. No additional presence of any other ports. That's basically it. We do have an IP67 rating on this, which is a little bit better, and we do definitely appreciate having that. So in case you do get some splash on this, this is definitely going to be protected. The 6-inch display that we have here is a POLED display. Now, it does suffer from that little bit of a blue tint if you put it off axis and you're looking at a very light image, but it's also present in many other OLED displays. Overall, the usage on this is going to be very nice. One of the other concerns that came out earlier when the time when the device was released is the burn-in test, or the burn-in issues. The reason why I'm zooming in for you guys is because that's one of the main problems, is that these things were burning in onto the display a lot faster than most OLED displays. And what happened is that Google pushed out with Android 8.1, so whenever I go into, let's say here, this is Google Now, you'll notice it did switch them over. They're no longer running that persistent white color, which is what was the problem at the beginning, is that it was sitting in the same color the whole time. Not only that, but it also did install like a little bit of a different effect. You notice that they were a dark black when I first turned into Google Now, and when I go back, see, you'll start right there. See how they're dark black? Give them a few seconds, you'll notice they start fading out. The colors started changing. So what they did here is that they allowed the buttons to not just be static, projecting an image, a specific image, onto the OLED display the whole time. So where they're white right now, they'll switch over to black, they'll go to gray, and that helps with allowing the display not to have such a very fast burning effect on this. So they definitely are aware of the issue, and they're fixing it, and they also fixed it by extending the warranty on the Pixel 2 XL. As far as specifications, we are running the Snapdragon 835 here with the Adreno 540, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage. There is a 128 version of this. I didn't go with that. The only difference between the bigger one and this one is that the bigger one had more RAM, more storage. RAM is the same. Overall performance is very good. And as I mentioned to you guys, this is running Android 8.1. This is the latest and greatest. Just got pushed out a few days ago on our device. Battery life has been great since day one. Audio quality on this is really, really nice. I do have to say, if there's anything I have to kind of complain about the configuration, is that I find that the device is a little bit aggressive on RAM management. I recently tested this device against a Razer phone where that had 8 gigs of RAM. And I found that at 4 gigs of RAM, what we have here, especially if you're trying to run like heavy duty games, there was some concerns. But that doesn't really hinder the fact that this is by far one of the fastest devices I have. Now, I am running Nova Launcher on this device. I don't have any other home screens here. The camera itself we'll get into that in a second, and I'll tell you guys why I really appreciate that. But the fact is that the burn-in issues are gone. As far as the ability to see that off-axis blue color tint, that's something that's going to be present all the time. And the only answer I can say is once you have this device in hand and you've used it for a few days, you never ever use that device by holding it and turning it off axis to see that little bit of a blue tint. You're always going to look at your display straight up. That's how we use our phones. The 18:9 aspect ratio is definitely well appreciated. A lot of people had some concerns with the bezels on this. Honestly, after using it and actually having it in your hand, you don't look at those bezels. The forehead and the shin have definitely been reduced tremendously so that we only have the space there, because we do need to have those speakers there. But the fact of the matter is, it's a beautiful display, really good device for media consumption. The front-facing speakers are exactly positioned in the spot that you'd want to have them to be able to use this device to consume media. And also, it does get pretty loud. Now, not as loud as the Razer phone, but it definitely does get pretty loud. One of the things that the 8.1 update did, it actually gave us the ability of going in and changing the color saturation or the color representation on our display. By default, it used to be natural, which is closer to sRGB. We have boosted, and then we have saturated. And then changing the different aspects, you can see here that it changes the color. Let's go over here. And then if I go over to saturated, you'll notice it'll start just changing the little bit colors, giving us all the color, the gamut that we want to get out of our OLED display. Storage, out of the 64 gigs that I have, about basically 6.67 free, as I've been using it, taking a lot of pictures and videos. That's normal. The battery, about 56%. I have about 17 hours and 6 minutes left on it. Really good as far as learning our usage and making sure to keep the device running pretty good. Under the System tab, we have this nice little section which is called Gestures. One of the other unique things about this device is the ability to do the squeeze section here. So if we go under Gestures, we have the Active Edge, and that's really that little squeeze gesture. I have it high sensitivity right now, but essentially, by squeezing it, you activate the assistant, which is the fastest way you can do it on any device. Allow when screen is off, so be able to use that to silence, let's say, the alarm. So here, squeeze for silence. I can silence my alarm or the ringer if the call is coming in. But it is by far the fastest way to get the assistant running on your device. So by squeezing it here, let's go ahead and do it. You'll notice it comes out right away, and you're able to use it. Now, Google Lens is also present. You'll notice right there. And that takes you directly into the lens effect. It works really nice, and it has been pushed to most devices as far as Pixel devices. So you have not only the ability of using the lens within the Google Photos application, you can actually now use it directly with Google Now on this device. A lot of cool things being pushed out to this device, and that's one of the main reasons the Pixel 2 XL and the Pixel 2 are really nice. They are getting updates faster than any other device on the market. Let's talk the camera application, and also let's talk about the camera itself. As I mentioned, we have an 8 megapixel in the front, a 12 megapixel in the back. By far the best performers I've seen on any actual device. Here is the gallery. I recently went to the UK and I was covering an Honor launch event. You'll notice right there, these are images taken in really low light, and I was sitting pretty far just to be able to take clear pictures at any light. All these pictures were taken in super low light, but not only that, even when I did go outside and I decided to take pictures in daylight, you notice it does really, really well. One of the main benefits here is that we have machine learning in the background of all of this. So it's not just that the camera takes great pictures, but it's also the device is able to process these pictures and then produce really good images. The application recently got updated to give us a better experience taking front-facing pictures. We have HDR Plus and HDR Enhanced. We have the ability of doing grid on and grid off. We have the ability of going between portrait, photosphere, panorama, and slow motion. And the portrait is different than what we had in the Pixel 2, the Pixel XL and the Pixel. It's because now we don't have to do that whole tilting. It does all of that processed in the image that is in front of you. As far as the settings, we have a lot of options here. We have the ability of setting it up to be a 4x3 and 8x3. So an 8x3, an 8.3 megapixel camera will take the 16:9 aspect ratio if you want to take it from the back camera for photos. On the front-facing camera, you're able to go up to 8 at 4x3. I like to keep them there. The back-facing camera, you can go up to 4K at 30 frames per second as the maximum, and then 1080p at 30 frames per second as the maximum for the front-facing camera. Stabilization is on, and it is tremendously well. You will not know if you're using an actual gimbal or not. Let me show you a few samples here of the video I've taken with the front and the back-facing camera. I wanted to show you guys real quick the 8 megapixel front-facing sensors producing really good video. Again, this is just using the standard camera app. I'm not converting it to anything else. It's still recording in mono. That's something I cannot control. But I wanted to give you guys, again, another good example of how this looks like. This is freeform. I'm holding it in my hands. We're going to switch over to the back-facing camera, and I want to show you guys how that stabilization with the machine learning performs on the back sensor. Now, the back-facing camera, that 12 megapixel sensor in the back, is by far the star of the show. If you've ever had a camera on your device and you wanted to know what's the best camera I can get, 2017's answer is basic. It's the Pixel 2 or the Pixel 2 XL. They have the same sensor on both devices, although I feel like the Pixel 2 XL definitely looks better and it has a better display, as you're getting that Quad HD display. The audio, on the other hand, is still mono, nothing we could do about that, and I'm hoping Google at some point will just start giving us stereo. It is something that you should be able to do. So if you've ever used one of those videos and you downloaded it to your PC, you'll notice right off the bat that it is playing in mono. And I think, again, we should just have it in stereo at this point. But again, you should be able to notice now if there's any jitters or any movements. I am using this freeform, and you can see how the machine learning does. So the pros are going to be great display, great audio, great battery life, great performance out of the device, and great camera. I think that's going to be something that you want to be aware of. The camera on this is amazing. Front facing or back facing for video or for stills, you're going to get the best experience there. And it's really, really easy. There is no pro mode, which I think would have been something that we would appreciate having there. But I think overall the algorithm and the machine learning in the background does a really good job of doing all the things that a pro mode would have done that for you. No gimmicks, just straight great camera. As far as the downsides, as I mentioned to you guys, the mono audio, that's something I'm just nitpicking on my end. The 3.5mm headphone jack should have stayed there. I don't think there's a reason for us to lose that in 2017. There's a lot of devices that still use it. I had to travel an entire trip for 4 or 5 days without a 3.5mm headphone jack on my phone because I forgot the dongle at home. That's the weird part of that. So other than that, I think this is the device to be had. And if you had it for the right price, which means $300 off that $850 price tag, I don't think there's a reason why you'd say, I don't want this for $550. I think the device is really nice. Verizon's running a really good promotion. And again, this is getting the updates as they're getting released. 8.1 got pushed out a few days ago, and it actually came in directly on the Verizon device. There was no delay in releasing it directly from them. So the one thing I want to mention to you guys that I did not mention in my unboxing earlier is that when you're setting up the device, initially there is no bloatware. But once you turn it on, obviously, and you're starting to download updates and so on, some of the Verizon applications will start downloading to your phone. Just be aware that you can actually disable those updates if you do not want to download them or uninstall them because they're not system applications. So when I did the unboxing, I stated that this device does not have any bloatware, and I still stand behind that because nothing that gets installed cannot be removed, and the device itself can be run super smooth, super stock, and 64 gigs is not that bad, but if you need more storage, I'm running pretty close to the end of it. I think the 128 would be a better deal for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next video.